So you've got these massive dreams, right? You can literally picture the exact life you want, and it feels so real you can almost touch it. But then, push comes to shove, it's time to actually do the work, and you just freeze. You sit there. Well, if that hits a little too close to home, welcome to the club. Let's get right into this explainer, because there's a whole group of us out there dealing with this exact thing. You're fiercely ambitious, but you feel hopelessly lazy. You're packed with ideas, but completely stuck in the mud. And you know what the absolute worst part is? You know you're capable of so much more, but you just can't seem to make yourself move to actually do the work. We all know the lie. The exact one we tell ourselves every single night. You're lying in bed, you're feeling guilty, kind of disappointed, because you know you just blew another day. So what do? You make a promise. You say, tomorrow's going to be different. You map out these grand plans in your head. You get this crazy, intense 11 p.m. burst of motivation to change your entire life. But reality check, when tomorrow actually rolls around, poof, that motivation completely vanishes and you're right back to dodging the exact thing you know you should be doing. It's literally a vicious daily cycle. Step 1, you wake up with all the good intentions in the world. Today's the day, right? But then step 2 happens. You grab your phone for just a second, a few minutes of scrolling turns into an hour, and boom, half the day is totally gone. You tell yourself, okay, I'll start after lunch. Lunch hits, you're a little sluggish, so you push it to tomorrow, which leads directly to step 3, crushing guilt. And that loops us right back around to step 4, those false promises you make staring at the ceiling. People can lose months or even years to this exact loop. All right, so to break this, let's look at your brain in survival mode and the science of avoidance. You see, you're basically living in this constant state of internal tug-of-war. The left side of the ring, it desperately wants to achieve great things. It sets goals, it dreams big, it wants to leave a mark. But then, there's the right side. This side just wants to avoid discomfort at all costs. It seeks safety, and it is absolutely terrified of failure. And right now, that comfort-seeking side is winning. Not because you're weak, it is purely about deeply ingrained psychology and basic human biology. But the good news is, since those patterns were built over time, we can absolutely rewire them. When you think about tackling those big goals, your brain literally perceives it as a threat. It sees effort, it sees uncertainty, and bam, it hits the panic button. Welcome to survival mode. Your brain throws you a lifeline, something super easy like scrolling on your phone, to give you a quick, cheap hit of dopamine. The discomfort temporarily vanishes. You see, you aren't lazy. Your brain is just misguidedly trying to protect you. But here's the kicker. Every single time you cave to that comfort, you're accidentally hardwiring your brain to think your dreams don't actually matter. Which brings us to our next major block. Perfectionism is just fear and the illusion of high standards. Listen, perfect is never coming. You probably have this crystal clear vision of success in your head, and anything less feels like a total flop. So you wait. You wait for the ideal conditions, the perfect plan, the stars to align. But what we call perfectionism isn't actually about having high standards. It is fear disguised as excellence. Time for some tough love? You're waiting around because you're terrified that if you actually give it your all and fail, you'll have to face the cold, hard truth that maybe you aren't as capable as you imagined. As long as you never start, you get to safely stay in that cozy little daydream. But here is the absolute truth you need to hear. Inaction is the opposite of success, not failure. Think about it. When you fail, you actually learn something valuable. When you sit around doing nothing, you learn zilch. Literally every highly successful person you admire has failed more times than you've even tried. They built their momentum because they had the guts to take messy, imperfect action way before they ever felt fully ready. So how do we fix this? We move to consistency over motivation and building the discipline muscle. Let's start with a reality check. You are probably never going to wake up bursting with magical energy to do the hard stuff. That's just not how adult brains work. You absolutely cannot rely on how you feel. Motivation is a fleeting feeling. It comes and goes like the wind. You can't build a life on it. But discipline? Discipline is a rock-solid system built one tiny decision at a time. You have to take action despite what your brain is screaming at you, because doing the work when you absolutely don't feel like it is the only way to prove to your brain that discomfort isn't actually dangerous. To shut down that perfectionism and build your discipline muscle, you've got to start ridiculously small. I mean it. Work for just 15 minutes. Write a single paragraph. Make one phone call. Honestly, it does not matter how tiny the task is. What matters is that you check the box today, and then you wake up and do it again tomorrow. We're not aiming for perfection right now. We are aiming for consistency, because consistency builds habits, and habits build your entire life. Next up, redesigning your environment, because willpower is a myth. A massive takeaway from our research here is that highly productive people don't magically possess more willpower than you do. They just have way better systems. Your environment is pulling the strings way more than you realize. So if your phone is sitting right next to you, you're going to check it. Put it in a completely different room. Clean off your desk. Protect a specific time for focus work like it's sacred. And please, close the 45 tabs you have open right now. Make it harder to get distracted than it is to just focus. Every distraction you kill removes a decision, and that saves your precious mental energy for the stuff that actually matters. And watch out for this incredibly sneaky little meta trap. You do not need more information. You're probably out there binging productivity videos, reading articles, listening to explainers exactly like this one. It feels amazing, right? It feels like you're making progress. But actually, you aren't. It's just a really clever form of avoidance. Your brain is totally tricking you into thinking that learning about the work is the same as doing the work. Stop researching. You already know exactly what you need to do. Finally, as you start executing, let's talk about forgive yourself and start, and the role of self-compassion. Look, you're gonna mess up. You'll have days where you fall right back into the old patterns. It happens to literally everyone. But beating yourself up with guilt and shame, that just drains your energy and feeds the cycle. Accept this incredibly freeing truth right now. Your first attempt at anything is going to be terrible, and that is perfectly normal. Every masterpiece started as a messy draft. You just have to prioritize the habit of showing up over the quality of the work. The quality comes later, the consistency comes first. Give yourself permission to be bad at something so you can actually get good at it. You really need to separate your identity from your past behavior. Remember this, lazy is not who you are. Lazy is just what you have been doing. Who you are at your core is someone with massive potential, fully capable of putting in the work and achieving big things. What you've been doing is just avoiding discomfort, because your brain hasn't learned yet that discomfort leads to growth. You aren't broken, you're just stuck in a pattern, and patterns can be broken. Which brings us to our ultimate question. Will you be the person who just dreams, or the person who actually does? Ambition without action is literally just a fantasy. And listen to me, nobody is coming to save you from yourself. So here is my challenge to you, right now. Stop planning your life and start actually living it. The second this explainer ends, I want you to close it, chuck your phone in another room, and go do one single thing to build the life you want. Be that person starting right now.